Caregiving can sometimes feel like an impossible struggle. Caregivers may be torn between taking care of loved ones and trying to maintain balance in life. The good news is that it doesn't have to be that way. The Caring Generation with host Pamela D Wilson is here to focus on the conversation of caring. You're not alone. In fact, you're in exactly the right place to share stories and learn tips and resources to help you and your loved ones. So now, please welcome the host of The Caring Generation, Pamela D Wilson.
I'm Pamela D Wilson, caregiving expert, speaker, educator, consultant, and guardian of the Caring Generation. Thank you for joining me for this week's show, episode 227, Year 8. The topic is Aging Parents and Eldercare Dilemmas, how to respond when an elderly mother or father wants to move into your home, or you think that caring for mom or dad will be easier if they live with you. Before jumping into this week's topic, please, if you find this podcast helpful, click the like or follow button on your podcast app and add a positive comment about the show to help me and the Caring Generation podcast grow and reach more listeners looking for caregiver solutions and strategies and tips to care for elderly parents in the areas of health, finances, legal, family relationships, and family dynamics, or if you're a caregiver or an aging adult, how to plan for your own care so that you don't need a significant amount of help from other people. One of the top aging parents and elder care dilemmas is where elderly parents should live when they need care. The obvious and most preferred wish of parents is to stay living in their homes. But unfortunately, due to an increasing number of health problems, physical weakness, and disabilities, staying in the home and be able to take care of oneself and the home can become challenging, if not impossible. As I talk about so many times on this program, in my videos, in the articles on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, aging care problems result from health and physical declines. So no matter what your age, paying more attention to and preventing health issues from advancing is important. Doing whatever you can to remain physically strong and able is important. Because while there are declines that do come with age in your 70s, 80s, and 90s, there's a lot you can do to change your future related to aging and health if you take action today. So during this week's episode, I'll share insights about living with family members that it's important to consider before you take that leap. Or if you're already in this situation, warning signs to look for that may indicate you need an exit strategy to move your parent out of your home or have you move out of your parent's home. It's important for everyone involved in care situations to realize and agree that situations can change. And it's always important to have a plan A, a plan B, and sometimes a plan C, because it's impossible to predict all of the unexpected things that can and do happen. If you're in this situation and you're feeling stuck with aging parents and elder care dilemmas, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me by going to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, clicking on the Services tab, and then completing the contact form on the Elder Care consultation page. So let's talk about the idea of living with elderly parents. Think all the way back to your childhood and your teens. What did you like and what didn't you like about living in your parents' home? Were there too many people? Did you get along with your parents and your siblings? Was there privacy or no privacy? Too much noise? Could you watch what you wanted to watch on television? Did you have to be quiet in the morning or in the evening because other people were sleeping? All those things that you wanted to get away from by moving out of your parents' home, they probably haven't changed. Look at how you live today. Do you like a quiet home, or do you live in a noisy home with a lot of commotion? Do you have a television that you rarely watch, or are family members watching television constantly? Do you have to worry about waking other people up in the morning if you get up early, or do other people wake you up if they get up early? What are your parents' habits living in their home? Are they active? Do they sit in front of the television all day? Are they messy? Is their house not clean? They are going to bring their habits into your home. Or if you move into their home, you're going to take your habits into their home and then live with their habits. So the first thing that I want to say about moving an elderly mother or father into your home is that love and patience only go so far. It's usually the little things, like in any relationship, that become big things that stack up and add up and become irritating and frustrating. So if your parents have habits now that you don't like, living with them isn't going to make those habits go away. If you have habits that your parents don't like, the same thing applies. Both of you will probably get on each other's nerves. That's the way that it works. Maybe you're a caregiver who currently lives alone or lives with a spouse without children, or maybe the children are grown up and out of the house. So maybe you were looking forward to retirement and doing all those things that you've been wanting to do for years. How will moving an elderly mother or father, or both parents, into your home change your daily routine and the plans that you had for your retirement, the plans that you had to spend time with your spouse? While you may dismiss these changes because of a sense of duty and responsibility to care for elderly parents, moving elderly parents into your home or moving into their home is a very, very, very serious consideration. While you may think that your life won't change significantly, if your parent needs care today and they have health problems, eventually you will devote more of your time to caring for an elderly parent, and you'll trade the time that you once had for yourself. So many caregivers that I speak with during my one-on-one consultations say, well, I never thought mom or dad would live this long. I never thought we would be doing this long. I expected this to be for 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. And now it's 5 years later, and it doesn't look like mom and dad are going to die anytime soon. Now, some of you hearing this may think, oh my God, how selfish. How could these children possibly even say that? Well, I say to you, if you are not personally in this situation, do not judge. You may actually find yourself in this situation in a year or two, if you have parents living with you, or if you're thinking about moving in with your parents to care for them. Inviting elderly family members to live in your home or agreeing to move into their home is really a much bigger commitment than you might ever imagine. Let's fast forward a few years after you've done this. Your mom or dad has a lot of health problems. So in addition to a primary care doctor or a geriatrician, your mom or dad see a cardiologist, a pulmonologist, an orthopedist, and an endocrinologist. These appointments, every 90 days. So that's 5 days of your time every 3 months, or 20 days a year. If you work, how much vacation time do you have? How much time can you take off work to take parents to these appointments? And what happens to the vacation time that you used to have to spend with your family or your kids? Poof, it's gone. Then add picking up medications prescribed by these doctors every month. If your parents have a lot of medication changes, you're probably managing that. You're probably setting up their medication boxes. There may be communication with the doctors between the quarterly appointments. Maybe you're dealing with Medicare or their Medicare Advantage plan. Maybe you're paying their bills and managing their finances. And so because of an elderly parent's health problems and maybe needs for you to manage their money, you're probably making a lot of extra effort and putting in a lot of extra time to make sure all this happens. Maybe you're even making sure that your parents eat healthy, which can have a positive side effect for you as the caregiver if you're also eating healthier and not stress eating as the result of all of these things that you have to do to care for your aging parent. And then let's say you work all day and your parent or parents are home all day by themselves. And when you get home, they expect you to be their entertainment because they've seen no one else all day, when really all you want is some time for yourself without anybody asking you to do one more thing. There probably are even evenings when you're leaving work and you're thinking, man, I don't want to go home to my own house because all that's going to be there are all these people who are placing more demands and more stress on my life. I'd rather just run away. I know that to be true because many caregivers tell me that's how they feel. Add to this, what if you have a spouse and you're raising young children? How does the time you devote for caring for an elderly mother or father affect these relationships? Are you putting more work on your spouse to take care of the children by themselves? These are not easy situations. So let's talk about aging parents and elder care dilemmas and where living with elderly family members can go wrong. So let's say you think it's going to be a temporary situation. Maybe mom or dad needs to move in for a short period of time to get their health back to normal after a surgery or hospitalization. The first wrong turn here is not putting a timeline on moving in. For example, this is for 30 days or 3 months. During this time, you should continue to talk about when you're back home or when you move into your new apartment or when you move to the assisted living. Do not let mom or dad get too comfortable living with you and expecting you to meet their every need. So many caregivers do this, and then they wonder why they're burned out and exhausted. It's because you didn't set up clear expectations at the beginning and you didn't add a timeline for this event. Here are some other areas where conflict can arise. Mom lives with you, and she comments on everything you do about raising your children, saying, you should do this or you shouldn't do that. Mom gives your kids candy when you previously had a candy-free house. Or she questions the house rules that you have for cleaning up bedrooms or cleaning up the kitchen or bedtime or your kids' ability to go out with their friends or stay on their computer till midnight. Maybe mom doesn't like your husband or wife, or vice versa. Your husband or wife doesn't like your mom or dad. Major problem. Elderly parents often come between spouses. Honestly, this division is only going to last so long before you may be left living alone with your mother because your spouse says, you know what? You want to be married to your parents? By all means do. I've had enough. I am out. You've got to ask yourself, did you get married to be with your spouse or your mother or your father? There are times when you've got to choose your spouse over your elderly parent, and in my opinion, you always should. Boundary setting is another aging parents and elder care dilemma. Many children haven't learned how to set boundaries, and parents have never learned to set boundaries. So they are continually pushing your button to do more and more and more and more, and all you're doing is saying yes and yes and yes because you've never learned to say no. Back to spousal relationships. When do you keep information between you and your spouse private or share it with a parent who lives with you? Sometimes you may feel as if you can only talk behind closed doors or when you're out of the house because your mom or dad becomes intrusive or judgmental. This can feel like a huge restriction when you're living in your own home and you've got to worry about what you're talking about or worry about what you're saying. Relationships with aging parents can depend a lot on how your relationship was growing up. For example, to this day, do you overshare details of your life that might be better kept separate or private from your parent? Do you talk to your parents about your worries, your anxiety, your family drama? Or does mom or dad pull you into family drama you'd rather not know or think about? These can be lifelong patterns that you have to break. Do you ask your parents for their opinion, what they think about things you want to do? Do you have difficulty making decisions without asking your parents? If you fall into any of these categories, you may never have fully separated your adult life from your parents' lives. If this is the case, you are giving your mom or dad permission to make judgments about your spouse, your children, and your lifestyle choices. You're giving your mom or dad permission to constantly offer their opinions and be angry even if you don't listen, even if you're 40, 50, 60, or 70 years old. You may be giving your mom or dad permission to continue to treat you like a child. If any of this happens and mom and dad lives in your home, or you're living in their home, it's probably time to start the separation and exit planning process. So, here's a few steps you can take. Stop sharing information about your personal life. The fact that your parents live with you already exposes them to enough information about your daily habits, your relationships with your spouse, your children, your work life, and your friends. Encourage your parents to start doing things independently outside the family, especially if you've become your parents' support network. Doing these things will allow you to mention that it's probably time for your parents to figure out a plan to live on their own again. Set a timeline. Ask your parents what they need to make this happen, and put those things on a list. If your parents express concern about not being able to take care of themselves, well, then they can hire in-home caregivers or move into a care community. You want to focus on their independence from you and their dependence on you, which you created by agreeing to let them move into your home, or you created by you moving into their home. So if you moved in with an elderly parent, what did you give up? Did you give up your job, which allowed you to be financially independent? This is often a huge, colossal, gigantic, big mistake. Because then what did you do? Unless you're wealthy beyond all measure, you have become reliant like you were when you were a child on mom and dad's home to live in and mom and dad's income to support yourself. So the first step is let mom or dad know that you're getting a job so that you can move out, and that finding a replacement for you as a caregiver is on the top of your list, and it should be on the top of your aging parents list. You can begin interviewing care agencies so that you have a care agency in place so that you can go look for a job. This will give your parents time to adjust to the new situation, and you will have more time to focus on getting your life back, getting a job, and becoming independent again. Many adult children fall into this trap of moving to live with a parent. They make a parent dependent on them for everything because they want to be helpful, and then they're stuck and they can't figure a way out. There's always a way out, especially if you recognize and own the choices that you made moving in with mom or dad. Sure, you may have made a mistake, but mistakes can be rectified. It's like your parents moving in with you. You invited them, they asked, you allowed it. They put themselves in this dependent situation. And at some point, it may be time for them to move out and accept care in a different living situation. It's the same for caregivers who move in with mom and dad. Your elderly parent shouldn't be taking care of you financially at this point in their lives. You should be and remain self-reliant even if you're helping them. So if you have a job where you can't work remotely, do not give up that job and your income to move in with mom and dad. Find alternatives in the form of in-home caregivers or other supports. Talk to your parents, your siblings, any family members who might be able to help. Do not be that sibling who gives up your life and your job to take care of mom and dad, because then eventually you will become resentful, as much as you don't think you will, of your other siblings who didn't make the choice. You will be resenting your parents. But everybody else out there, they are going to be so glad that you made this sacrifice because they are going on with their lives. Family caregiving. Very, very complicated. Not easy. Before making any big decisions, make sure that you look at all the options. Think twice. Think 3 times about the consequences. Talk about these consequences with your spouse, in your family, with your aging parents. Have plans for what to do if and when the situation does not work out as expected. Living with and caring for aging parents, even if you're not living with them, is not easy. It is a huge life-changing situation for you and your parents that truly is one of the most significant aging parents and elder care dilemmas. In many cases, putting information in writing by creating a care agreement can avoid emotions when the care situation must change or end if it doesn't work out as you expected. Alternatively, simply having an agreement with a defined time frame to start if you think this is a short-term situation. This allows everybody involved to know that it's temporary, it's not a long-term plan, and it ends in 30 days or 60 days. Being transparent, talking with your elderly parents, talking with your siblings, talking with your family members is so, so important. I cannot emphasize it enough. It avoids a lot of problems and people hiding information from each other and people not being transparent that really cause so much conflict that causes family relationships to go off track. There's no need for that if you're proactive. So if you're feeling stuck with aging parents and elder care dilemmas, schedule a one-on-one consultation with me by visiting my website, PamelaDWilson.com. Click on the Services tab and then the Elder Care Consultation page where you can complete a contact form to schedule time with me. I'm Pamela D Wilson, a caregiving expert and advocate. You're with me on the Caring Generation podcast. Thank you for joining me for episode 227. Please do take a minute right now in your podcast app. Click like, follow the show, leave a positive comment so that other people can find their way here. If you want to see the show transcript and the video that accompanies this podcast episode, go to PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Media tab, select the Caring Generation, and scroll down to episode 227. And while you're there, check out the other 225 episodes answering questions that caregivers ask. I look forward to being with you all again soon. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. Have a fabulous day tomorrow. And enjoy each day until we are here together again.
Tune in each week for the Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson. Come join the conversation and see how Pamela can provide solutions and peace of mind for everyone. Here on Pamela D. Wilson's The Caring Generation.